whole idea of this, and I know I've mentioned it to you before, but you know, you take a bunch of different people fishing throughout the years, and everyone's got different stories, you know, different walks of life. You know, some people have fly fished a bunch, some people have never done it, and I don't know, just being out on the river, you know, especially, you know, 4 or 8 hours, you know, you have conversations with these people that, you know, just, you almost feel like you leave like you've known them for, you know, years. Just
right. It's, well, from a customer standpoint, I'll tell you that I think that some of the best trips I've ever been on were just people that were fun to talk to, you know?
for sure. Yeah, I think there's just something about being on the water that it kind of slows you down a little bit. You can kind of disconnect from life, disconnect from your phone, and just kind of have, it kind of almost creates a space just for those, you know, real conversations to happen.
Yeah.
Especially when you share a passion, you know, you talk about fishing, you talk about life, and it's just kind of the perfect place for it. What first interested you in fly fishing?
You know, I've been around fishing, you know, from you know, before I could really remember. And, you know, growing up in Louisiana, you know, we did a lot of bass fishing, a lot of brim fishing, chickapin. You know, me and I have a stepbrother that's like Daniel Boone. And we used to go to this place called White Oak Landing and catch bass, and we'd fish in the morning, hunt rabbits in the afternoon. And I don't know, I'm trying to think, I know I came out here, when I first came out here and we bought our cabin, I was like, wow, there's, you know, this, I don't even remember how it all happened, but my mom and stepdad bought me an Encounter rod, which, you know, I think a lot of people start out with, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I kind of like just, God, I didn't know anything. I just went out to the dam and would go cast and watch all these videos, and then I just became like enamored with it, like enamored.
It has the tendency to do that to
people. and like enamored. I was like, I want to learn everything about it, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know, how did you get into it?
Yeah, my dad started fly fishing when I was probably 10 or 11, and he got me my first fly rod when I was probably 14. And, you know, it's a lot of people, I feel like fly fishing is, you know, somewhat intimidating, but, you know, you get out there and, you know, you let the rod do the work and figure it out, and you get hooked pretty quick. You know, I feel like if you're going to be into fly fishing, you know pretty fast.
Right.
But I mean, there's nothing like that first feeling of, you know, you've learned how to cast, you've learned, you know, mending and getting your flies out there in the right spots and kind of how to read the water, and then you hook and land that first fish, and it's like almost like a drug.
Yeah.
Like
well, I always say that if you catch a lot of fish, it's addicting, and if you don't, it's addicting, because you're like constantly on the pursuit, right?
Absolutely. And for me, you know, I grew up camping and, you know, spent most of my time as a kid outside, and, you know, bass fishing and all that is a blast. But, you know, there's just something about being on a piece of water that's, whether a river or creek where the water's moving, not only the fishing side of it, but just kind of the overall scene of hearing the water, just disconnecting. I mean, part of what I love about it is most of the places you fish, you don't really have cell service, and it just gives you a chance to really kind of turn off for a few hours. And with fly fishing, you know, you kind of have to be in the zone, right? You know, you're constantly kind of in tune with your line and your flies, and it kind of creates that space in your brain to just disconnect and be focused on something that you really care about, you know?
Yeah, I will tell you, it's one of the few
Let's try a couple little higher up.
I will tell you, it's one of those things that you do that when you're doing it, that's really all you're thinking about.
Yeah,
you're,
exactly.
You know, getting the bugs where you want them to go, watching the drift, and
there's not many things in life that kind of create that where you're like,
it's like a meditative state.
Exactly. Like you're just in the zone, and it's
typically, ooh, I felt fishy.
A little fishy.
Yeah, it did. You know, like my personality and how hectic my life is, it's like, for me, this is just it's just a great way, even like an hour a day. I come out here lately, an hour a day, and you know,
I'll slide you over here and try that little seam that kind of goes on this tree.
And you know, you like wake up in the morning, you drink some coffee, and then you rigging your pole. And tell you what, man, the other thing about it too is there's something like you look over your shoulder right now.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And you see that, and that doesn't do something to you.
Something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
I think that's another part of fly fishing that is so intriguing to me is there's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you can, whether you're on a small creek, you know, fishing a really small dry, and you know, you got trees all around you, or you're on the boat and, you know, got all this space, or you're throwing a streamer. It's just there's so many different ways, and you know, you may have one river somewhat figured out, and then you go to a new one, and to me it's, you never really get to a point with fly fishing where you've learned it all, which is very exciting to me.
Right.
There's nothing like going to like a new river and like kind of, in a sense, like obviously it's like, you know, you have the water you think is going to fish best and all that, but it's almost like an adventure of just starting over. That feeling.
Well, like even setting the hook, right? It's like, it's so funny as this sounds, and I don't know what I'm saying is correct, but it's like people, oh, I like this. Oh God, I like that. Oh God,
beautiful.
That's gorgeous. Yeah, God. You know, I always, when I fish with a guide, I listen to everything they have to say, because, you know, man, you're just constantly learning. You don't know everything, and like you said, all the water's different, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, this guy was telling me, he's like, you keep setting the hook like at an angle, and you know, that's kind of what I know to do. And he's like, you know, lift up.
Yeah.
And dude, right when he said that, I started hooking every fish. I was and it's kind of like counterintuitive to what I learned.
You know, that's a fun thing too. You know, the difference in wade fishing and being on the boat is, you know, you do some things a little bit differently, and it's, I don't know, I just love it. There's sometimes I go wade fishing and I feel like I've forgotten how to fish. Feels like it's my first day fishing.
Right.
It's kind of a different animal.
Well, you know, one thing is, like when you wade fish is...
Let's try this current in the middle. I'll kind of slide you to the left.
One thing about wade fishing is when you hook a nice fish, you know, if you haven't practiced a lot of using your net, you know what I mean?
Right. Getting the fish to the net is a feat.
Well, yeah, it is. It's like, it's a skill in itself, right?
Do you have a favorite place that you fished?
I would say one of my best fly fishing trips was on the Gallatin River.
Yeah.
In Montana. We hit this trico hatch, and the tricos hatched for like, I swear, a couple hours, and I just had one of the best days of fishing. Nothing big, and that's the thing about fly fishing, that you saw that.
Yeah, little eat. Yeah.
You know, that's the thing about a little rainbow, huh? Or is that a horny head?
From here it almost looks like a brown. We'll see. A little foul hook brown.
Did I foul hook it?
I think what happened is he tried to eat the dry, and then that midge snagged him.
I love it. Dude, did you see that other fish swim under it?
Oh yeah, decent fish. You probably just kind of lift him up, little guy.
What was I just saying?
Oh, you're talking about the trico hatch on the Gallatin?
Oh yeah, and that was probably a nice little brownie.
Yeah, a little brownie.
Yeah, that was a really cool trip, man.
So beautiful out there too. What are these fish doing right now?
I don't know, man. What's going on? They're like, I know that big fat guy up there. He's been catching a lot of us lately.
I've seen him before.
You know where we went yesterday? We went to Bear Claw Winery.
I love that spot.
Yeah, I went to Bear Claw Winery. It was pretty good, man. I don't know if they're making their wine there, but we had a Riesling. It was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things fishing here is, fall and spring. Fishing stays pretty good throughout the day, but I love doing those full day trips. And to me, when you get to stop and eat lunch on the side of the river with people,
Oh, that's
cool.
cool.
it just kind of adds a whole nother element to the whole day of just kind of getting to know each other and fishing.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
I like that.
This hole was good to us last time.
Yeah, that's okay. I've noticed it kind of fires off at weird times, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fish are a little strange right now.
Oh, for sure. The old summer bite. As 90% of people that get in the boat say, that's why it's called fishing, not catching.
Right.
If I had $1 for every time I heard somebody say that.
The old dad joke.
Oh, man. It's always humbling, too, to have those days where you may fish the same stretch of water that you caught 20 fish on the day before, and
Yeah.
it's not happening the next day. You gotta figure it out. Another thing I love about it is, you always have people asking where should we eat, and, any breweries or, other things to do in Blue Ridge. So it's always cool to be able to send people your way. And
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I don't know, it's part of what I love about a small town is, the community of, everyone's kind of there for each other. And Brandon, what are the fish doing?
I don't know, man.
This is 2 days ago. It was the same thing. I was
Murdering?
just what is happening?
Yeah. What did we fish like a week before last?
Yeah,
And we just murdered.
really good. I think it's a mix of a few things. I feel like we're having a little above average temperature wise for this time of year.
Right.
And then I feel like the last 3 or 4 days, just kind of all these weird pressure systems moving in and out.
Well, you were talking about coffee earlier. I drink coffee all day. I'll drink.
Keep it going.
I'll drink. Yeah. I'll drink 2-3 cups in the morning, and then I'll I love a cup of coffee in the afternoon. I think
Yeah.
it's like a Louisiana thing.
Yeah.
I'll call my dad and he's like, "What are you doing?" He says, "Man, I'm drinking a cup of coffee."
Cup of coffee. These fish need to drink a cup of coffee.
I bet if you turned the camera off, we'd start slaying them.
Throw the camera in the river and catch a 25-inch fish.
I like this little. I think one of the most underappreciated and under talked about values in life is just doing it, right? Like, it's like fishing. Like, I've been fishing so much. Like, my casting's been great. My everything, because I'm doing it so much. And I've been in the restaurant business for over 30 years, man. Like, it's not like I just picked up this craft. And you got to work at it and work at it and work at it. And it kind of, if you do that and you put yourself in the right positions, I think good things happen. Make smart decisions for the right reasons.
Yep.
But I'm lucky. I still actually really enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoy the restaurant business. I really enjoy problem solving. I really enjoy hospitality. I mean, I'm not in my businesses like I used to be. Well, I don't, I work a lot, but I'm not like at the restaurants a lot like I used to be. But
Yeah.
well,
even with that, I mean, one thing that I've always really respected about you and in that industry is you're still in the restaurants, a decent amount.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Making sure people are happy, making sure the customers are having a good experience, and your appreciation for excellence kind of shows through the restaurants and
I appreciate you
your
saying
staff
that.
and all that.
Yeah, I appreciate
Not
you
many
saying
people
that.
do that.
Because the thing about like any business is, it's like once you cut the grass, you got to, and it looks real good. You still got to keep cutting it. You know what I mean? You don't cut it once.
That's a good dad saying. I like that.
Well, it's true. I got a lot. Tell you what, it actually feels really good outside there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Try landing it just a little higher, just to give them a little more chance for those bottom flies to get down there. Yeah.
We murdered in that section 2 weeks ago.
That's just wild, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It all can't be amazing. Maybe we're not catching fish because I haven't put a Copenhagen in yet.
That is usually a pretty big factor into when you catch fish. Nice. Good sign. Do you have 2 on? There's
Horny head. Don't do it. Who's eating who?
Hey guys, thanks for checking out episode 1 of Drift Boat Diaries. Fishing's a little slow this time of year, being the summertime. The water heats up and those oxygen levels in the water drop. So the fish aren't super eager to eat this time of year. But I hope you enjoyed the conversation with my buddy Brandon. And we'll look forward to seeing you around episode 2.